Many people spend their lives chasing blessings, believing that they have to earn, qualify, or strive for them. They think if they work hard enough, pray long enough, or do enough good deeds, then maybe, just maybe, God will bless them. But here's the truth. Blessings are not something you have to chase. They are already yours. Your ability to receive blessings is not just about opportunity, talent, or luck. It is about mindset. The way you think shapes the way you experience life. Two people can walk through the same situation, face the same challenges, and be given the same opportunities, yet one will see blessings while the other only sees obstacles. Why? Because mindset determines perception, and perception determines reception. Many people block their own blessings without realizing it. They live with a mindset of scarcity, fear, or unworthiness, and as a result, they struggle to receive what has already been made available to them. It's not that blessings don't exist, it's that they don't recognize or embrace them. Think about the Israelites in the wilderness. God had already promised them the land of Canaan. It was theirs. But when the 12 spies returned from scouting the land, 10 of them focused on the giants, the fortified cities, and the obstacles. They saw themselves as small and incapable, and because of that mindset, they rejected the very blessing God had given them. On the other hand, Joshua and Caleb had a different perspective. They saw the same land, the same giants, but instead of fear, they had faith. They knew that if God had promised it, they could receive it. The difference wasn't in the circumstances, it was in their mindset. Your mindset determines what you focus on. If you are always looking for reasons why things won't work, you will find them. If you believe that favor is for other people but not for you, you will subconsciously reject the very blessings that come your way. But if you shift your mindset to one of faith, gratitude, and expectancy, you will start to see doors open that were always there, but previously invisible to you. Some people live with a mindset of lack. They believe there is never enough time, never enough money, never enough opportunity. They see life through the lens of limitation. But when you shift to a mindset of abundance, you start to see how much is actually available to you. You start to notice resources, connections, and doors that were always there but overlooked. An abundance mindset doesn't mean ignoring reality. It means choosing to focus on what is possible instead of what is missing. Another way mindset affects your ability to receive is through self-worth. Many people struggle to accept blessings because deep down, they don't believe they deserve them. They carry guilt from past mistakes, insecurities about who they are, or doubts about their value. So when an opportunity comes, they hesitate. When favor finds them, they push it away. They believe that blessings are for other people, the ones who are more qualified, more holy, more put together. But the truth is, God's blessings are not based on perfection. They are based on grace. You don't have to be perfect to receive. You just have to be willing. Fear is another major blocker of blessings. When you live in fear, fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of the unknown, you hesitate to step into what is already yours. Blessings often require action, and if fear keeps you stuck, you miss out on what could have been. The opportunities are there, but fear convinces you they are too risky, too uncertain. Meanwhile, someone with a mindset of faith sees the same opportunity and steps forward, receiving what was available to both. Your ability to receive is directly tied to your ability to believe. If you believe that God's favor is for you, you will walk in expectancy. If you believe that opportunities are coming, you will position yourself for them. If you believe that blessings are already yours, you will be ready to receive them. The question is not whether blessings exist. The question is whether your mindset is ready to receive them. Gratitude is more than just saying thank you. It is a mindset, a perspective, and a way of living that shifts your entire experience of life. Gratitude is not just a response to blessings, it is the key that unlocks more of them. The more you appreciate what you have, the more you position yourself to receive even greater things. Too many people live their lives focused on what is missing. They see what they don't have, what hasn't happened yet, and what they wish were different. When you focus on what is lacking, you create a mindset of scarcity. You reinforce the idea that there is never enough, that you are always behind, that blessings are distant rather than present. But when you shift to a mindset of gratitude, you begin to realize just how much you already have. And when you recognize your blessings, you attract more of them. Think about the story of the 10 lepers in the Bible. All 10 were healed by Jesus, but only one returned to give thanks. That one leper didn't just receive healing, he received wholeness. The other 9 were physically restored, but the one who practiced gratitude received something deeper. His thankfulness unlocked a greater blessing. Gratitude changes your perspective. It shifts your focus from what is missing to what is present. It reminds you that, even in difficult seasons, there are still things to be thankful for. And when you focus on what you do have, you cultivate a mindset of abundance rather than lack. You begin to see that God has already been at work in your life, and you open the door for even greater blessings to flow. Gratitude also changes the way you handle challenges. Life is not always easy. There will be setbacks, disappointments, and seasons of uncertainty, but gratitude allows you to see purpose even in difficulty. When you are grateful, you stop seeing obstacles as roadblocks and start seeing them as opportunities for growth. You begin to trust that even when things don't go as planned, there is still something to learn, something to gain, and something to be thankful for. One of the most powerful things about gratitude is that it multiplies what you have. The more you appreciate something, the more valuable it becomes to you. Have you ever noticed that people who are grateful for the little things seem to have more joy, more peace, and more fulfillment? It's not because they necessarily have more, it's because they recognize the worth of what they already have. And because they recognize it, they attract even more of it. On the other hand, when people take blessings for granted, they often lose them. Relationships that are not appreciated grow distant. Opportunities that are not valued disappear. Gifts that are not acknowledged fade away. But when you show gratitude for what you have, you strengthen and expand it. Gratitude also aligns you with God's timing. Sometimes we become so focused on the future that we miss the blessings in the present. We are always looking ahead, always waiting for the next breakthrough, always expecting something bigger. But what if what you have right now is part of the blessing? What if the very thing you have been praying for is already in front of you, but you haven't recognized it yet? Gratitude helps you see what you already have and allows you to embrace it fully. When you are grateful, you also create an atmosphere of favor. People are drawn to those who appreciate them. Doors open for those who recognize opportunities. Even in business and leadership, those who practice gratitude tend to build stronger relationships, gain more support, and experience greater success. Gratitude doesn't just change your mindset, it changes your entire environment. The truth is, you don't have to wait for something big to happen before you start practicing gratitude. You don't have to wait for the perfect moment, the ideal situation, or the biggest breakthrough. Gratitude is available to you right now in this moment with what you already have. And when you embrace it, you open the door for even greater blessings to come your way. Fear is one of the greatest barriers to experiencing the favor and blessings that are already meant for you. It's not that God's favor is limited or that his blessings are scarce. It's that fear keeps you from stepping into them. Fear convinces you that you are not ready, not qualified, not worthy. It makes you hesitate when you should move. It makes you second guess when you should believe. And if left unchecked, fear will keep you stuck in a place far smaller than the one God intended for you. The truth is, favor often requires action. Blessings are not always handed to you in a way that feels comfortable. Sometimes they require you to step out in faith before you see the full picture. But fear will try to convince you that if you can't see every detail, you shouldn't move at all. It will whisper all the reasons why it won't work, why you might fail, why you should wait until conditions are perfect. And in doing so, it blocks you from stepping into opportunities that were always meant for you. Think about the story of Peter walking on water. Jesus called him out of the boat, giving him the opportunity to do something miraculous. At first, Peter walked on water, but the moment he let fear creep in, the moment he focused on the wind and the waves instead of the one who called him, he started to sink. The favor was there, the opportunity was there, but fear blocked it the moment Peter allowed doubt to take over. The same happens in life. The moment we focus on the challenges instead of the possibility, we start to sink under the weight of our own hesitation. Fear keeps people in places they were never meant to stay. It keeps them in jobs they have outgrown, relationships that no longer serve them, and mindsets that limit them. It keeps people saying no to opportunities that could change their lives. It convinces them that risk is too dangerous, when in reality, the real danger is staying stuck. One of the biggest ways fear blocks favor is by keeping people from taking the first step. Many times God will give a vision, an idea, a dream. But fear will stop a person from moving forward. They want to wait until they have every answer, every resource, every guarantee before they begin. But favor is often found on the other side of obedience. You don't always get to see the full staircase before you take the first step. the provision, the opportunity, the open doors. They often come after you move, not before. Fear also leads to missed opportunity. Have you ever looked back at a situation and thought, I should have gone for it? Maybe it was a job opportunity, a chance to speak up, a relationship you were afraid to pursue. Looking back, you can see that fear held you back. The truth is, most of the time, the things we fear never actually happen, but fear magnifies the worst-case scenario and convinces us that stepping out is too risky. Another way, fear blocks favors by creating a cycle of hesitation. The more you let fear dictate your choices, the harder it becomes to break free. You become comfortable playing it safe. You start to believe that favor is for other people, the ones who are bolder, braver, more willing to take risks. But the only difference between those who walk in favor and those who don't is that they chose faith over fear. They chose to move forward even when they felt uncertain. Fear will always be present. It doesn't disappear on its own. The key is learning to move despite it. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision that fear will not control you. The more you choose faith over fear, the more you position yourself to receive the blessings that have been waiting for you all along. Favor is not withheld from you. It is not something you have to earn. It is something you step into the moment you stop letting fear hold you back. One of the fastest ways to lose your joy is to compare yourself to someone else. It's almost impossible to fully appreciate your own blessings when you are constantly measuring them against someone else's. Instead of enjoying what you have, you find yourself focusing on what you lack. Instead of celebrating your progress, you focus on how much further someone else seems to be. Comparison doesn't just steal joy, it blinds you to the blessings that are already in your life. In today's world, comparison is easier than ever. Social media gives us a front row seat to everyone else's highlight reels. We see their achievements, their vacations, their perfect relationships, their promotions. But what we don't see are their struggles, their insecurities, their failures. We don't see the late nights, the sacrifices, or the doubts they battle. Yet we compare our reality to their curated moments and wonder why we don't measure up. The truth is, comparison is a losing game. No matter how much you accomplish, there will always be someone ahead of you. If your happiness is tied to being better than someone else, you will never feel fulfilled. There will always be another person with more success, more talent, more recognition. And even if you do reach a higher level, comparison will push you to chase the next thing instead of enjoying what you have. Comparison also leads to feelings of inadequacy. Instead of recognizing your own unique gifts and path, you start to believe you are not enough. You discount your progress because someone else seems to be moving faster. You question your worth because their journey looks different from yours, but the reality is, everyone's path is different. You were not meant to run someone else's race. You were created with a unique purpose, and your timeline will not look like anyone else's. When you compare, you risk becoming resentful, not just toward others, but toward yourself. You begin to think, why am I not where they are? What's wrong with me? And that mindset blocks you from seeing the good that is already in front of you. It keeps you from embracing the opportunities that are meant for you because you are too busy wishing for someone else's life. Another dangerous effect of comparison is that it shifts your focus from gratitude to discontent. Instead of being thankful for what you have, you dwell on what you don't. Instead of celebrating your wins, big or small, you downplay them because they don't seem as impressive as someone else's. But gratitude and comparison cannot coexist. When you choose gratitude, you begin to appreciate your own journey. You realize that your progress, no matter how small, is still progress. You stop looking at what everyone else is doing and start focusing on how far you have come. Comparison also drains your energy. The time and effort you spend analyzing someone else's life could be spent building your own. When you are constantly looking sideways, you lose sight of your own direction. You miss out on the opportunities that are right in front of you because you are too distracted by someone else's path. But the truth is, the only person you should be comparing yourself to is who you were yesterday. Your goal should not be to outshine someone else, but to grow into the best version of yourself. One of the best ways to overcome comparison is to celebrate others. Instead of feeling threatened by someone else's success, choose to be inspired by it. Instead of allowing their achievements to make you feel small, use them as motivation to keep going. When you learn to genuinely celebrate others, you free yourself from the need to compete. You recognize that their success does not take away from yours. There is enough room for everyone to win. The reality is, joy is not found in having more than someone else. Joy is found in appreciating where you are, being grateful for what you have, and embracing your own journey. The moment you stop measuring your life against someone else's is the moment you start truly living. Faith is not just believing that something will happen, it is taking steps as if it already has. True faith is not passive. It does not sit and wait for everything to be perfectly aligned before moving forward. Faith requires action. It requires stepping out before you see the full picture, trusting that what is unseen is just as real as what is visible. Many people say they have faith, but their actions contradict their words. They believe that God has a plan for their lives, yet they hesitate to move when He calls. They pray for opportunities, but are afraid to take them when they appear. They wait for a sign, a guarantee, a moment of absolute certainty before they step forward. But faith doesn't work that way. If you wait until every detail is clear, you are not walking in faith. You are walking in certainty, and certainty is not faith. Throughout history, the people who experienced the greatest breakthroughs were the ones who took action before they had all the answers. When God told Abraham to leave his home and go to a land He would show him, Abraham didn't have a roadmap. He didn't know exactly where he was going, but he moved anyway. He didn't wait until he saw the land first. He stepped out in faith. Faith is what turns potential into reality. You can have all the talent, all the vision, and all the opportunities in the world, but if you do not act on them, they will remain unused. There are people with God-given ideas that they never pursue because they are waiting for the right time. They are waiting for a perfect moment that never comes. The truth is, faith does not wait for the perfect conditions. Faith moves forward despite uncertainty. Fear is one of the biggest barriers to faith-driven action. Fear whispers, what if you fail? What if it doesn't work? What if you're not good enough? But faith asks, what if this is the moment everything changes? What if this step leads to something greater than you imagined? Fear keeps you stuck, but faith moves you forward. The choice between fear and faith is ultimately a choice between staying where you are and stepping into what could be. Faith also requires persistence. It is not just about taking one step. It is about continuing to move even when you don't see immediate results. Many people start in faith but quit too soon. They pray for an answer, take one step, and if nothing happens right away, they assume it wasn't meant to be. But faith is not about instant results. It is about trusting the process, staying consistent, and believing that the breakthrough is coming even when there is no visible evidence yet. Think about the story of the woman with the issue of blood. For 12 years, she suffered. She had every reason to give up, but she didn't. She heard about Jesus, and instead of waiting for Him to come to her, she took action. She pushed through the crowd, reached out, and touched the hem of His garment. That one act of faith changed her entire life. If she had stayed where she was, waiting for something to happen, she would have remained in her suffering. But her faith had action, and because of that, she received her healing. Another powerful example is the story of the Israelites crossing the Jordan River. The river didn't stop flowing before they stepped in. It stopped when their feet touched the water. The miracle happened after they moved, not before. So many people want to see the water part before they step in, but faith requires stepping in first. Faith-driven action does not mean reckless decision. It does not mean moving without wisdom or ignoring preparation, but it does mean trusting that if God has placed something in your heart, He has already made a way for it. The path may not always be clear, but that is where faith comes in. You don't need to know every step, you just need to take the next one. When you start acting in faith, doors begin to open. Favor follows movement. Blessings flow to those who are willing to step out and trust that God will meet them where they are. The moment you take action in faith, you align yourself with the blessings that were always meant for you. The people you surround yourself with have a direct impact on your faith, your mindset, and your ability to see and walk in God's favor. Who you listen to matters. Who you share your dreams with matters. Who you allow to influence your thoughts and decisions matters. If you surround yourself with people who constantly doubt, complain, and see only obstacles, it will be difficult for you to live with an expectation of God's favor. But when you surround yourself with people who recognize and believe in God's blessings, you position yourself to experience more of them. Faith is contagious, and so is doubt. When the people around you live with a scarcity mindset, always talking about what they lack, what isn't working, and why things never go their way, it becomes easy to adopt the same perspective. But when you spend time with people who walk in faith, who see God's goodness in every situation, and who speak life over their circumstances, you begin to see life differently. You start to believe that God's favor is not just for a select few, it is for you. Think about the story of the 12 spies in the book of Numbers. Moses sent them to scout the promised land. All 12 saw the same land, the same giants, the same challenges. But 10 of them came back focused on the obstacles, saying, "We can't do this. The land is great, but the giants are too big." Only 2, Joshua and Caleb, saw the favor of God. They said, "Yes, there are giants, but God is with us. If he has promised this land, we can take it." What happened? The voices of the 10 negative spies spread fear among the people, and as a result, an entire generation missed out on God's favor. They listened to the wrong voices. The only ones who entered the promised land were Joshua and Caleb, the ones who saw the favor of God even in the face of challenges. That is the power of the company you keep. If you are constantly around people who only see limitations, you will start to believe in those limitations. But if you align yourself with those who see possibilities, who speak faith, and who declare God's goodness over their lives, your mindset will shift. The people around you should challenge you to believe bigger, not settle for less. They should remind you of God's promises, not reinforce fear and doubt. They should push you forward, not hold you back. When you have the right people in your life, they will call out the favor of God in you, even when you don't see it for yourself. They will remind you of who you are when you forget. They will speak life over you when you are discouraged. This doesn't mean cutting people out of your life entirely, but it does mean being intentional about who has the most influence over you. Not everyone is meant to speak into your life at the same level. Some people will drain your faith while others will strengthen it. Some will feed your doubt while others will feed your purpose. Choose wisely. Even Jesus was intentional about his inner circle. He had 12 disciples, but among them, Peter, James, and John were the ones he took with him in key moments when he raised Jairus' daughter from the dead. He put the doubters out of the room and only allowed those who had faith to stay. Why? Because faith matters. The atmosphere around you matters. Surrounding yourself with people who see God's favor does not mean they are perfect or that they never face struggles. It means they choose to see God's goodness even in difficulty. It means they believe in his promises even when circumstances look uncertain. It means they speak faith, not fear. If you want to experience more of God's favor in your life, start paying attention to the voices you allow to shape your mindset. Align yourself with those who believe in God's best for you. Surround yourself with people who see his favor, and you will begin to see it more clearly in your own life. Timing is everything. In life, we often find ourselves waiting for answers, waiting for opportunities, waiting for things to fall into place. And in those moments of waiting, it is easy to grow impatient, to wonder if God has forgotten, to question if the right time will ever come. But what we must remember is this: God's timing is never wrong. It is never delayed. It is never too early or too late. His timing is always perfect, even when we don't understand it. One of the greatest struggles people face is the desire for immediate answers. We live in a world that values speed. Fast food, instant messages, overnight delivery, everything is designed to be quick. But God does not operate on human schedules. His ways are higher, and his perspective is eternal. While we see only what is in front of us, he sees the full picture. He knows what we are ready for, what we are not, and what needs to happen behind the scenes before his plan unfolds. There are moments when we feel like we are ready, but God knows we are not. We pray for doors to open, but he keeps them closed, not because he is withholding blessings, but because he is preparing us for what is ahead. If he gave us everything we asked for the moment we asked for it, we might not be able to handle it. Growth happens in the waiting. Strength is developed in the process. And often what feels like a delay is actually God protecting us, shaping us, and aligning things in ways we cannot yet see. Look at the story of Joseph. God gave him a dream that one day he would be in a position of great influence. But instead of stepping into that promise immediately, Joseph went through years of hardship, betrayed by his brothers, sold into slavery, falsely accused, thrown into prison. From the outside, it looked like God's timing was off. But every moment of Joseph's journey was preparing him for the exact position God had promised. If Joseph had been placed in leadership too soon, he wouldn't have been ready. The trials he endured shaped his character, strengthened his faith, and positioned him to handle the responsibility that came with the blessing. The same is true for us. Sometimes the waiting season is the training ground for what's ahead. God's timing is not just about when things happen, it's about who we are becoming in the process. The waiting refines us. It teaches us patience, trust, and resilience. It shifts our dependence from our own strength to His. Another challenge with God's timing is that it often does not align with our expectations. We set deadlines in our minds. By this age, I should be married. By this point in my career, I should have reached this level of success. But God is not bound by human timelines. What looks like a setback to us is often a setup for something greater. What feels like silence is often God working behind the scenes in ways we do not yet understand. When Lazarus was sick, his sisters, Mary and Martha, sent word to Jesus, expecting him to come immediately. But Jesus delayed. By the time he arrived, Lazarus had already been in the tomb for 4 days. To them, it seemed too late. But Jesus was late. He was right on time. His delay was intentional. He wasn't just coming to heal Lazarus, he was coming to perform a greater miracle, to raise him from the dead. What seemed like a missed opportunity was actually a divine setup for something even more powerful. God's timing requires trust. It requires surrendering our own plans and believing that His ways are better. It requires releasing control and understanding that just because we don't see movement doesn't mean He isn't working. The right door will open at the right time. The right opportunity will come when we are ready. And when it does, we will look back and realize that God was never late. He was always preparing us for His perfect timing.